Hello everyone, Jay here, and welcome back to the Glove Room. It's time for Volume 2 of the Glove Room Chronicles, and today we have a set. These are Rawlings Heart of the Hide Type 1 Diabetes charity gloves. I've had the opportunity to put these together through my friend Chad Johnson at Softball Fans in Kalamazoo, Michigan for the last 4 years, and it's been truly a remarkable experience. We've been able to raise over $16,000 for the Fuld T1D Sports Camp in Tampa, Florida, as well as do other charitable programs using baseball gloves for the type 1 diabetes community at large. I'd like to tell you all about them from leather to lace. Now, the majority of you have seen these on Instagram, or my Instagram, at PickleTheBeast417, but if you haven't, I'd love to take the opportunity to tell you all about them. Now, in 2017, I asked Chad about doing a couple of custom gloves, all the same, and adding a logo. At the time, we were supporting Slam T1D for a wiffle ball tournament that raised money for the Fuld T1D Sports Camp, and I wanted to put the logo on a handful of gloves, buy them, of course, and then bring them down to Tampa to use them as door prizes, to give some of them away, just between 3 and 6. So I inquired to Chad about what it would take to do a minimum order. He put his head together with the good people at Rawlings Sporting Goods, and he came back with, let's do a small run. So a micro run of gloves was created. I got a chance to pick the pattern and do all of the custom options, and they told me that maybe I can do a couple of things that you kind of, like off menu, a couple of the pro department features, and I was really happy to do that. So let me tell you all about it. I went with black Horween leather, and you can see some of the buildup there, that beautiful Horween dust that's built up on this one for the last couple of years. I decided to go with blue for type 1 diabetes, and that's going to be an important theme as we go on. I did a Pro 200 pattern in a 12-inch with an H-web, and instead of calling it a 206-6, I had a special request. Can we please call it a Pro 200-6? So after going back and forth with Rawlings, they did agree to doing that. Kept the embroidery as blue. We did it in Pro Stiff, so it was going to show up pretty rock solid. And then we did a hand-sewn welt on the pinky and thumb. And then, of course, the Slam T1D logo. Now, when these came up for sale, I was really excited because we were given 36 of them with 3 lefties, so 39 total. And they went to pre-order, and then they shipped out, and as soon as it dropped, we sold 24 of them, and it took about a week to sell out. And if you're asking me, that was phenomenal. 7 days to sell those gloves off of a little Instagram account. I was to the moon. I was so stoked. And Chad came back after the sale, and then he said, well, what are we doing next year? And I said, next year? Okay, let's get started. So fast forward to 2018. Instead of doing something that was going to be like really cutting edge, I wanted to go back in time and do a little bit more of a throwback, taking inspiration from gloves that people in the community owned, and then turning that into something very special. So this is the T1D version 2. We got a lot more features in this one, and I'm really excited to tell you about it. So from a leather standpoint, we were able to get tan Horween leather and black Horween leather. We did a split black welt on this Pro 200 pattern, and it's a Pro 200-23 because, once again, I was able to name the pattern, so it's a Pro 200. Again, this is very versatile as a Pro 200 pattern, so we didn't want to do anything too polarizing. And I say we because I made this one with one of my best friends, Dutch Whitaker, at 405 Baseball. Looking at the wrist, we were able to do the oval R logo there. And this is the first time that you're going to see what's called the Fuld extension logo. This is my friend Sam Fuld, who is now the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And this is him laying out for a ball that was caught in 2011 against the Chicago White Sox in right field, hit by Juan Pierre. A couple other features that we added were black indent stamping in the palm to really give it that throwback look. I love these gloves when they came out between 2002 to 2008. There was a lot of two-tone black and tan. We also want to make this one really comfortable. So we put that Pittard's liner in there, which is usually reserved for either pro departments or pro preferred gloves. And then lastly, we have this web. This is the reason why it's a -23 is that it hasn't been made before. Now, don't get this confused with the Pro RV23. That's the inspiration for it. But as a Robin Ventura model has a thicker, wider hinged single post, we decided to slim this one up a little bit. I worked with glove engineer for Rawlings, Bobby Newman, and this one is only marginally heavier than a regular single post. So we're able to develop a brand new web out of it. I think that it looks great. It's an 11.5-inch Pro 200, and it's definitely got that throwback appeal while being super comfortable and very familiar in terms of pattern. We were given 66 of these gloves, and they sold out in a day, which was, again, unbelievable. And I'm going to say it a lot, but thank you very much and so much to the community that has come together over the last 6 years that I've been on social media for supporting these charitable initiatives, especially this one. What's also important to note is that Softball Fans was giving all of the proceeds of the gloves to the Fuld T1D Sports Camp, which is great. The other thing is I kept the price intentionally as low as possible because the one thing we wanted to do was not make these things cost prohibitive, but allow everybody to get one that wanted one. So they sold out in a day. That was really happy about that. And then people just said, what's next? Well, I'll show you what's next. So I had a great design team, which included, of course, Dutch at 405 Baseball, the legendary Devin Coley at DC Gloves, and my good friend Andy Hassler at Yellow Sub 73. Now, we wanted to do something that was going to be unattainable in the Rawlings market in the United States. A year before this glove came out, I was given a prototype Pro 6J, which is as an aesthetic, as a pattern, very Japanese in style in terms of the very wide wrist, thick, wide heel, and it had that mid-heel run of lace. And it was also very, very, very shallow with tall fingers. So we wanted to do something just like that. And when we got greenlit for it, we were ecstatic. So the only issue was we couldn't do any left-handed throwers because it was an experimental pattern. So we just really went back and forth about how we were going to do it, if we were going to do it. But we decided that we weren't going to get an opportunity to do it any other way, so we decided to go ahead. This one we wanted to do with intent. The black and gray is very intentional because we wanted to highlight the blue web lace for type 1 diabetes. So as a pattern, this one again is experimental, the Pro 6. This is the first time that we invoked type 1 diabetes in the model ID by calling it the Pro 64-T1D. Again, we did another 11.5-inch, mostly because this pattern wouldn't have made a lot of sense any longer than that, because of the fingers mostly. On the back, we did a gray shell back with black split welt, and we also did black speed shell with a white oval R logo. Once again, you see black embroidery for Sam's body here in the Fuld extension logo, and it offsets the white embroidery that we did for the Rawlings script there. Again, did black ink stamping in the gray palm. And the blue web lace, I think, was a really nice touch. And we put the Rawlings logo in the single piece web. Pittard's liner, again, for comfort. And this one, I think, was kind of funky. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think it was the one that was less likely to be used in a game just because the pattern is so unfamiliar. But I think that people liked it because it was just something that was intriguing. And one of the things we wanted to do more than anything is have people talk about these gloves, because invariably and inevitably when they do, they're talking about our accounts and what we're doing as a charitable initiative. They talk about type 1 diabetes, they talk about the community, they talk about Sam Fuld, and that's the most important thing. So all of the money that's been raised has helped out a lot of amazing, amazing kids down in Tampa, Florida. And again, I'm going to say it more, thank you guys so much for all of your support. And the final glove I have is the one that came in about 3 days ago. We're here in late January, and this one was very interesting to put together. So in February of 2020, Dutch and I sat down and said, what are we going to do? And we decided that we were going to do an 11 3/4 inch camel eye web with Carolina blue accents. COVID put an end to all of that, and all of the other projects that we were doing were on hold. That's okay, but we never got told that we weren't going to do it. So between February and about August or September, we were still thinking, hey, maybe if this thing goes, what is it going to look like? A phone call from Ryan Farrar said that we had the green light again, so we had to have a spec ready, and this is what we had. So when the pre-order went in October of, the pre-order went in October of 2020, and we were ready with this bad boy. We had 72 sold in 28 minutes of T1D version 3, and this thing would beat that one by a little bit. So, based on the sellout of T1D V3, we weren't really sure how this one was going to go, but we were excited to try. So we wanted to do an outfield model this time, and we picked the Pro 303 pattern, probably the most common Rawlings outfield pattern you'll see out there. But we also wanted to do a conventional back. Rawlings had done a conventional back full trap, what was called a Pro 303 CTB in 2016, and I had one, and I really liked it. What I didn't like is that they stopped producing them. So when given the chance to do it, we wanted to talk about a pattern that wasn't going to be readily attainable and easily picked up off the street. If you customized one of these, it came as a finger shift, and we wanted to make sure you had pinky loops. So that was another reason why we wanted to do it. In terms of features, if you look at the palm, you'll see that black indent palm stamping again on that nice camel palm leather. On the back, and all of these are individually numbered. We were lucky to be able to do that for version 3 and version 4. Aside from the stamping, we also did Carolina blue palm welt. And then if you look on the back, we did black rolled welting. The hybrid color scheme is actually camel speed shell and then black leather. And we did white embroidery, as well as we took Sam and we moved him from the thumb and we put him right on the web. So instead of saying trapeze web, you have the Fuld extension layout. So Sam made it on a web. I think that the one thing that people talk about the most when we're talking about features is this is the first time that you'll see a different color patch that's made of leather. One of the requests that we had for this pro department is to do something very special, and it was this, and thank you to Rawlings for making it happen. These are Carolina blue platinum stamped leather patches. So this one here is cut from the shell leather and then stamped in that platinum foil. And we also did a Carolina blue hand slot, and same thing for the thumb oval. So this glove turned out, I think, pretty great. There were no defects on the ones that I had, and I think that it looks great. It feels perfect as a Pro 303. You have that nice wide heel, good shape here in the fingers. It'll give you a nice deep pocket, and it's something different. And I think most importantly is that, not only did this one sell out, but we were able to raise a lot of money once again for people that need it. The glove itself sold out in 20 minutes to the point where I was kind of worried because we sold out our number of 66. And I didn't like that because it sold out too quickly, which is not a humble brag. I got a lot of messages from people that were unable to get them. We talked it over, Chad and I, and we decided to open up a 30-minute buy window a few days later to let people know that if you want this, you can get it, and we sold 30 more. So there were 9 lefties in total, and one of those lefties went to Seattle Mariners pitcher Nick Margevicius, whose sister has type 1 diabetes. So thanks to everybody who supported it, from people overseas to people in the show, and people like me who are neither of those things. So again, these gloves are very special to me because this is, over the last couple of years, something that I've really looked forward to doing. The cause is very special for type 1 diabetes, and it brings a lot of people in the baseball community together. So again, $16,000 raised for the good kids down there in Tampa, Florida at the Fuld T1D Sports Camp. And yeah, so that's the story behind all of these. looking forward to doing more glove story videos and doing more chronicles here in this glove room. So if you have any questions, you can always hit me up on Instagram at picklethebeast417 or email me at thejetstolehome@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. As always, stay grassy.